Hi, welcome to a very awkward video angle. The reason it's awkward is because I have something to show everybody. And it's not this guitar pick, although I need this. This is actually what I want to show everyone. It's not completely done. I need to make a proper saddle for it and a proper nut. These are just temporary because I wanted to test the way it sounded. I wanted to make sure the sound was what I wanted it to be before I went and completely finished it all. It's very rustic looking, and it's going to remain relatively rustic looking. However, it's going to be sealed and whatnot, because right now the neck's still being carved. I'm kind of doing everything when I'm in the mood to do certain things, and yes, I realize there's a certain process, but this is my Banjo, and it's actually called Banjo. I don't know if that's legible or if it's backwards, because cameras are weird sometimes. My camera says it's backwards. That says Banjo, not Ojnarb. Ojnrab. Okay, let's get to the actual thing. So, this is an old flower tin. This is a piece of oak that came from an old barn. The headstock, I'm pretty sure, was a lob of wood as well. I think it's maple, actually. The neck is oak. The headstock is maple. It's a bunch of random bits and pieces. The material the headstock is made out of is actually on the inside too, running centered down here, so there's a secure place for the bridge and the neck to attach. In the future, if I make something like this again, I'll probably do it a little differently, but this is my experimental instrument creation trial, sort of. I'm going to be making a lot more musical instruments. In fact, I have 2 or 3 other ones on the go. But this is going to be electric. It has a tone and a volume knob. However, I think I might make these both volume knobs and put 2 different piezos in here, so you can choose to up the volume of the cavity as a whole, which would basically be the top here. But then also there's going to be a resonator in here. There's a prototype resonator in there. I don't know if you can see that random shiny metal thing in there, which will also have a piezo attached to it, so you can adjust which resonations you want, or which resonating surfaces you want to hear more. You can have them fully up all the way, fully down all the way, which doesn't make any sense. But if you're going for a purely acoustic sound, then you could completely remove that. But it's going to be a 4-string instrument. I'm going to get some new strings for this once it's done, but these are just some scrap strings I had laying around to test it. And this is how it sounds at the moment. The neck's not 100% comfortable yet because I'm still taking a little bit of material off at a time. I don't want it to move too much. I'm kind of happy with the thickness of the neck, but it's a little bit square, so I want to take a little bit off and make it a little more round, but I want to leave as much of this material here as I can. The cavity's looking a little rough, but again, the intention here is to make an instrument that functions and sounds unique and interesting and has a somewhat rustic look to it, and this is definitely fitting the rustic look. But I will be doing a little bit more to this to make it a little bit nicer. The bass here is just kind of bolted on with 4 struts because I wanted to see what it would sound like raised, and the holes that have been drilled into it aren't aligned very well. Let's just say that, because this is a very bent up, malshapen old flower tin, and this bridge that's here with the saddle in it, I made that. That used to be a block of wood, and I painstakingly carved that out with a Dremel tool and a sanding drum and a bit of sawing as well. I made these knobs myself. They're actually 2 old wheels from an old chest that used to be stored at the same barn I got everything else at. The fretboard is poplar. I just bought that from a hardware store because I couldn't find any suitable fretboard material there. And obviously the frets are bought as well. In the future, I will make something that is entirely made of found material. So there'll be friction tuners. The frets will probably be old nails or some other metal material. And I'm going to be making a bone saddle and a bone nut, just so it has a little more high tone. I do like the wood, but the wood will wear down over time, and it's just kind of annoying. I'm also going to be making a new bridge. This one was made for a different design of this. Like, this has gone through some changes, and I'm not sure if I want this bridge anymore because I designed it to be used with 3 strings, and then I had to modify it a bit. As you can tell, it's not looking super fancy anymore. It's kind of looking a bit rough, but we'll see. I added wood in there, which is going to be filed down to clean this bridge up, and then I'm going to recut the slot. It's kind of rough at the moment, but I have some maple and some cherry, and I might make this bridge out of cherry and leave it looking natural. The cherry wood is actually a tree that was cut down on the property the barn was on, so yeah. And it's just in regular old guitar tuning right now. There you have it. This is the Banjo. Work in progress, but it's getting real close to being done.